Hello students, in this video we are going to study about lesson number 7, region and regional development. So the first video is already uploaded. So this is the second part of this lesson, that is factors affecting the regional development. So in this video we'll study about what are the factors which are really affecting the regional development. So let us see them. First of all, we'll see the indicators of development. So what are the indicators? What is the meaning of indicators? What are such things which indicates us about the development of an area? Okay, so the first indicator is income of region through various activities. So what is the income of that area? The people in that area, how well educated they are, and what are the incomes, in which occupation are they engaged? That is also an indicator for development. Second is quality and quantity of population. If the population is in quantity but they are not having quality at all, okay, they are engaged in all poor type of occupation, then it's of no use, the development will be less. But if the population is less, if the quantity is less, but still those people are very much skilled, they have some qualities in them, then definitely we are going to say that they are the indicators of development. Next is education. Education is very important. You can gain lots of skills with the help of education. So it is an important indicator of development. Next is expectancy of life. How many years, what is the lifespan of the people staying in that area is the expectancy of life. And last is the poverty. So whether that region is below poverty, above poverty, it is underdeveloped, developed. So all these things are coming under your poverty aspects. So generally development is considered when it takes into account the physical, the economic, the social as well as the environmental aspects of the region. So along with all these indicators, you should also see that the physical, the economical status of that area is good, the social and as well as the environmental aspects are also very good. So physical factors and regional development. So here are some of the examples. So the first example is related to Mediterranean region. Okay, so it is more developed. Mediterranean region is the most developed region. Why it is developed? Because it has a fertile land. Then it has a favorable type of climate. It has good rainfall, nearness to the development countries of Europe. So because of all this environmental and natural things, this region is very much developed. The tourism is carried away in large amount in those places, and it is very close to Europe. The climate is very favorable. Because of that, the tourism activities are very much enhanced. So next is equatorial region, or you can say tropical rainforest region also. In that, these are the places which are less developed. Okay, only the exception in equatorial region or tropical rainforest region is a place called Singapore, which is an exception. It is developed. Why this region is developed? Because this region has a good accessibility. You can go there easily. They are developed. They have good economic condition, and the people over there has a better lifestyle. So why equatorial region and tropical rainforest region are less developed? So let us see about it. They are less developed because of dense forest, because of heavy rain, high temperature, high humidity and inaccessibility. Okay, so you cannot go easily there. The accessibility, like you cannot, there are no proper transportation medium like airways, roadways, waterways. Accessibility is not nice. Then it is covered by dense forest. So there is a danger of harmful animals, insects. So because of that also, the accessibility or the people, they don't go there or they don't stay in those places. And next is the heavy rainfall or high temperature. So because of this type of climate, extreme climate of heavy rainfall and extreme high temperature also, in these areas are very much less developed. Next is landlocked region, that is less developed, Nepal and Afghanistan. Now here, what is the condition? It is inaccessible region. lack of navigable rivers and lack of coast and ports. So these types of places like Nepal and Afghanistan, it has a lack of coast. They don't have coastal areas. They don't have ports because of that, and it is very much difficult to go there. So accessibility is very much low. So because of this, these areas are less developed. And last is Antarctica. Now Antarctica is also very much less developed. Why? Because the climate is totally unfavorable. The temperature over there is below 0 degrees Celsius. So you cannot do any type of agriculture. You cannot see any type of settlement in those places. It has an extreme climate. So because of that, there is no settlement. The population is also very less, and the climate is totally unfavorable, which is not suitable for a human being. So because of that, Antarctica is also very much less developed. So population and regional development by demographic transition model. So demographic transition model is already discussed in population chapter. So there are total 5 stages in demographic transition model. So in the case of first stage, here you can see that the birth rate is high as well as the death rate is high. So basically the natural increase in the case of stage 1 is stable or slow increase. If you take into the consideration of stage 2, the birth rate is high as well as the death rate is going to fall rapidly. Okay, so there is a fast falling of death rate. So because of that, the natural increase is very rapid. Okay, next is your stage 3. So in the case of stage 3, the birth rate starts falling now. Okay, in both the cases, stage 1 and stage 2, the birth rate was high. But in the case of stage 3, the birth rate has started falling down. And the death rate is also falling more slowly. So because of this, what happens? There is a natural increase and the increase is also slows down. You can see that very rapid increase was there in the case of stage 2, but in the case of stage 3, the increase has been a bit slowed down. Next is your stage 4. In that case, the birth rate is low as well as the death rate is also low, and because of that, the natural increase is falling and then it gets into a stable mode. And then is your stage 5. In this, the birth rate is rising again and the death rate is getting lower again. So because of that, the natural increase is stable or very slow. So this is about the demographic transition. So by this you can say that how is the birth rate and how is the death rate. Okay, if the birth rate is high and the death rate is also high, then definitely there is balance over there. Okay, both the things are high. How many people are taking birth, that many people are that many deaths are taking daily. So because of that, it is totally balanced. If you take in the consideration of the last case, then you can see that the birth rate is rising a bit and the death rate is also low. So here also you can see that because of that, the economic condition is going to be good. So the population density, age, sex, fertility, mortality, occupational structure, literacy rate, life expectancy determines the pressure on resources in the region. So because of population density, because of the age, if the working population is more, then it is well and good. But if the working population is less and the dependency population is more, then definitely it is going to create a pressure. Then the fertility, mortality and the occupation structure is also going to determine the status of that region. At the same time, they can also determine how efficiently the resources in a region will be used by the population. So if the population is good enough, they are skilled enough, they have that much knowledge, then definitely they are going to use the resource efficiently. In the 5 stages of demographic transition, the later stages have low birth rate and death rate. So this will imply that the regions with such low growth will have greater development because there will be less population to spend on. So the same thing I have told when I discussed the demographic model, that in the case of stage 4 and stage 5, the all the things or the population is very much less here. So definitely if the population is less, the development of that particular area will be more, and there will be no consumption. Okay, no consumption. So because of that, there will be less population to spend on. So because of this thing, the development is more in the stage 4 as well as in stage 5 as compared to other stages. Now next is the population and regional development by population pyramid. Now in the case of population pyramid, we should first understand what is the age structure. Okay, how many people belong to age group 0 to 15, how many people belong to age group 15 to 59, so and how many people belong to 60 plus age group. So these are the things which are considered in the case of population pyramid. So population pyramid is also called as age gender pyramid. Yes, because it is totally based on age, what are the ages of those populations, as well as what is the gender of the population, whether it is male or it is female. So it is a graphical illustration that shows the distribution of various age groups in the population, typically that of a country or region of the world. So you can construct a population pyramid for a small region, you can construct for district, you can construct for state, you can construct for nation, country, anyhow as per your requirement, which forms the shape of pyramid when the population is growing. So you can see that it gains a shape of pyramid. So in this figure you can see one side there is male population, in the other side there is a female population. So this is how the population has been divided in the case of population pyramid. At the same time, the quality of the population will be equally important. Population pyramid helps to explain the employment and consumption patterns, social needs, and perhaps the psychology characteristic of population. The high dependency ratio may force huge amount of capital resources to be consumed in supporting the dependents. So based on the population pyramid, or by studying the population pyramid, you can understand the male and female ratio also. Along with that, you can also understand the things of independent ratio and dependency ratio. If the working population is more, that is the independent population is more, definitely there will be tremendous growth in that particular region. But if the dependency ratio is high as compared to the independent ratio, then definitely there will be a lot of pressure on the economy of that, or on the capital of that particular region. So pressure on resources in a region is determined how? The density of population, age, then sex, then fertility, then mortality, occupational structure, rate of literacy, expectancy of life. So all these things are going to tell you the pressure of resources in a region. These factors also determine how efficiently the resources in a region will be used by the population. So by this you can also understand how you can use the resource and how you can make your human resource more efficient. So you can take it in a positive way and you can work on it, as well as if it is not going to work, it is going to give you a negative effect also. Now there are some push and pull factors which we have studied in the migration section of lesson number 2, population part 2. So what are the pull and push factors? So the pull factors are what? Which attracts the population. So good employment opportunity, good standard of living is going to attract the population. And what are the push factors? The factors like lack of basic infrastructure, lack of employment opportunities, and poverty is going to make them away. It will make them push away from those places, that is the rural area. Okay, so urban area or a well developed area is going to work as a pull factor, and the underdeveloped area or a remote area or a rural area is going to work as a push factor. Then what will happen after that? After a migration, what will happen? The urban area will get a lot of pressure on the resources. Why? Because the urban area is getting populated day by day. All the people, they are coming to the urban area. Why? Because of the pull factor. And what will be in the case of in the case of rural area, there will be lack of manpower for the development. No one wants to stay there, and if a human is not going to stay there, then who will do the development? Then definitely there those places will be remote places. Okay, there will be lack of manpower for any type of development. Land use and regional development. So land use, urban, rural. So what are the land use in the case of urban? You can see in the urban areas, the land is basically used for residential purpose, for commercial purpose, for industrialization, and less open space and high land value. Okay, so definitely whenever you go in a city, you visit a city, what do you see? You see there are homes, there are townships, there are societies, you can see the commercial zones, different malls. Okay, you can see various industries, IT companies, clinics which are being developed. You can also see that there is very less space, you cannot find any vacant place. Okay, each and every area is well organized, it is well planned. Okay, there is no such empty space or open space. And the last thing is what? Because of more development, the rate in those areas is very high. Okay, so the high land value can be seen in the case of urban areas. Now if we take into consideration the land use of rural area, then in rural area the land is used for agriculture, it is used for forest, it is also under a forest. Again, you can see there is lot of open space, you can see grassland and low land value. So in the case of rural areas, many people are engaged in agriculture. You can see forest area also. Along with that, you can see there is lot of open space. Okay, you cannot see that these areas are very densely populated. There is quite open space. Then you can see grasslands are there, and the rate or the valuation of that land is less as compared to your urban area. So the pattern of land use in regions which are developed and regions which are not developed, we find a difference in the percentage of land use. The demand for land changes due to the changing needs of the society. As socio-economic conditions change, land use keeps on changing. Definitely, based on the land use, you can understand what is the demand or what is the, whether it is developed or whether it is not developed. Okay. Rural as well as urban areas have land under different uses. In rural areas, much of the land is used for agriculture purpose and other uses like and have less land. Whereas in urban areas, much of the land remains under residential, commercial, industrial and other uses. The way the people of the region use that land will help the region to develop faster. So whether how are the people going to utilize that land, based on that thing the region's development is going to be based. If the people are going to use the land for agriculture purpose, then definitely that region is going to be underdeveloped. But if the people are going to use the land for commercial purpose, then definitely that area will grow more fast or will develop more fast. As population and human aspirations increase, land becomes an increasingly scarce resource. Deciding how to use land is important to reduce the negative effects of land use and to increase the efficient use of resources in region with minimal effect of future generation. So it's very necessary to make a proper use of land. Okay, so it is also a resource which has to be used properly. So this is also going to affect your regional development. So other things like economic activities. So we have already studied economic activities like primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary. So if the people engaged in primary activity is more as shown in this figure, then definitely the development of the region is going to be less. If the secondary activities are less, or tertiary or quaternary activities are less, then also the development will be less. Now here we'll see in more detail. So there is a primary activity. The occupation like agriculture, gathering industries and extractive industries are found here. So these are all the basic activities which give you less income. Okay. Then are the next are the secondary activities. So in the secondary activities you have value added industries like manufacturing industries, processing, construction, power production. So these types of activities belongs to secondary industries, which leads to a bit development in your region. Next is tertiary activities like service sector industries like retail and wholesale trade, personal and professional services. So these activities are going to increase your per capita income or GDP also. And your last or the second last is your quaternary. Quaternary activities are called as white collar informative service. Okay, in this you can see information research management type of occupation, and your final is your culinary activities. So these are the golden collar informative services. They are the high level people who has a capability to take a decision. So all the executive decision makers belong to your culinary activities. All the administrative people, the politicians, they belong to your culinary activities occupation. So this is how the occupations can also play a role in the regional development. So thank you for watching this video. So I hope the factors affecting the regional developments are clear to all of you. Do subscribe the channel.